Thanks for joining us here on Weather Nation as we take you out to some footage from Sunday out at the McKinney Fire. This is burning out in Northern California. Look at those flames just lighting up the scenery here across the Klamath River in California. Now we want to bring in our field correspondent, Brandon Clement, who's out there and has been out there since yesterday to talk a little bit more about the fire and what we can expect here going forward. He's also talked to some residents out there. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us here. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're seeing right now?
So right now the fire's kind of calmed down and a lot of smoke laying on it. And these things go through cycles. What will happen is you'll get, like yesterday afternoon, you had a big pyrocumulus cloud, and the fire really gets going, really stands up. It'll produce these like thunderstorm clouds. When that collapsed, the smoke laid down right on top of the fire, so it's really smoky. But that smoke actually insulates the fire from the sun and additional heating. And when you get that hot air, of course, your dew points come down, it dries everything out. And then you also get winds that mix down to the surface, and those winds help fan the flames. So right now, the smoke on top is really not doing a whole lot. That's a pretty common feature of these fires. And in the afternoons, they tend to stand up and make runs. So the last few days, the first 24 hours of this fire, it went nuts. It did something like 50,000 acres. It burned through in the first, I think, 36 hours. But now it's starting to lay down a little bit. But it'll cycle through. It'll come and go. One thing we do know with this fire, it's going to be a long duration fire because it's got a lot of fuel available to burn, and the terrain makes it really difficult for aircraft to get in.
And seeing some of the footage out there, very devastating to see some of those images. We've been kind of tracking those conditions. You've talked to some of the residents. Can you tell us how the residents there are feeling?
Well, in the town of Wairika, which is the population of about 8,000, it's only about 4.5 miles away from the fire, and a lot of fuel between it and the town. They're on edge. They're nervous. They're trying to go about day to day unless they've already been evacuated. The rest of the town's under evacuation warnings, which means they need to have everything packed, and if the order gets issued, they need to be out in 15, 20 minutes. So they're all nervous. They've leave their homes. They've already got stuff packed up. Others have already left. They're just hoping this is another close call, because every year the last decade has been one fire after another this time of the year. It's become just so routine for them that hopefully they don't get complacent with it. But the same thing we saw last year with the Dixie Fire. Everybody was nervous. It's like, this happens all the time. We're used to it now. But when the fire runs through a town, it becomes a different story.
And moving forward here, kind of what's your game plan to continue to track more of the fire and keep tabs on what's happening there?
Just kind of watch it every day. Got thunderstorms and rain forecasts. A lot of people think, rain's a good thing for a fire. It can be, but more times than not, it's not a good thing, because it creates lightning, and lightning creates fire. So it's just like last night, I think we had 11 new fire starts in that same general vicinity. And then when that rain cloud or thunderstorm collapses, it creates outflow winds, and that wind can drive the fire and make really big runs. So a lot of the town of Wairika is miles away from the fire, 4.5, 5 miles away from the fire. One really bad thunderstorm and outflow boundary can eat that distance up in a few hours.
Absolutely. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us here, and you stay safe as well with all those smoking conditions that could be lowering air quality in that vicinity too. Want to take you to